They're coming in for it. They are ready to go. Nautilus, Ori taking off the bat. So already we're just seeing a ridiculous team fight presence start to build out from the University of Michigan. Depends on what they're going to round out their support and AD with. We got some pick-heavy stuff, though. The Lee Sin, the Lucian, already. Kansas maybe showing a little bit of that. 25 seconds before we get a little bit more of a look into their composition. The Ahri would be no surprises. We see it into Ori all the time. And I like it. It's defense versus aggression. We're going to possibly see that Ignite come out from Ace. Get ready to just try to blast Julius here. I like it.
I do. I mean, this is... So far, we see a relatively traditional comp coming out from the University of Kansas. Lucian in that ADC role, Lee Sin in the jungle, Ahri in the mid lane, Maokai in the top lane. This is something that we've seen a lot throughout the CSL season, is having these four champions being picked up as well. And so I think the interesting matchup here is going to be that Ahri into the Orianna. Because that is a matchup that can really go either way, because with Orianna, you are forced to play around the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you can play that Orianna very aggressively or very passively or defensively, as we were kind of talking about, into that Ahri, depending on the play style that you want.
Absolutely.
And with that, actually, we do have the bot lane for the University of Michigan is secured, getting that Sivir and Janna both picked up.
That's a hard lane to get aggressive onto, so it fits the really good defensive style that they built. They've got a great front line with Gragas and Nautilus. Sivir and Janna now are just there to, well, Sivir to sit on the back line, Janna to apply all sorts of peel. Sivir's already safe thanks to the spell shield.
Right.
So this is quite ADC-centric here. I actually really like that they banned out. Okay, hang on, that's...
I think there might be a placement in there for the University of Kansas.
We'll see. We'll see if we get the quit out here in just a second. That will mean it's just a placeholder. If they're actually going to run support Ashe, I may have just seen it all.
This would be a surprise for me. I'm actually really excited to play this, and we are getting confirmation for the University of Kansas that Ashe is secured for that support role.
Holy cow!
So this is going to be a very interesting game.
Yeah, no kidding.
So a couple of things. We do have Nautilus in the top lane, Gragas, Orianna, Sivir, and Janna for the side of University of Michigan, right? They don't have a ton of, I guess, where I would say, like, super reliable engage. You can use a Flash Gragas body slam or the depth charge from Nautilus to kind of start a fight out, but bringing Sivir into that fold allows Gragas and Nautilus to reposition a lot better using the Sivir ultimate, and then putting the Orianna ball on them allows them for a good disruption combo in the middle of University of Kansas's team. However, an interesting point to make is that Ashe has that crystalline arrow for that pick engage.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's super strong engage.
Yeah, and then that combined with Maokai's twisting advance and the Lee Sin and the Ahri charm, there's a lot of CC that you can lay down onto a single target that you pick off. But you're gonna have a hard time landing that onto Sivir because she does have that spell shield to block that out. But you also have Orianna and Janna that have 2 shields as well.
Can apply shields. That's actually going to stack onto Sivir for additional damage.
Yeah.
And so the good news for the side of Kansas here is if they catch Sivir, she's dead. There's no, like, if they get her, the entire composition of University of Michigan is you know, without a paddle.
Yeah, because it's built to defend around that Sivir, right?
Right, and so that is the key point, but they've built this fortress around her, so it's going to be pretty huge. Going to be excited to see what it all happens there. Likely, I'm guessing it's going to be played around this Ashe Ahri, whichever. I would expect Ahri to come in, hit a charm, and then that's going to cue in a definite Ashe arrow, because the Ahri charm on such a low cooldown comparatively, you can just toss it out anywhere.
Right.
You follow that up with the crystalline arrow from Ashe, and that's your engage tool. You might make something happen with a Twisted Advance Flash from Maokai. You might have something with Lee Sin bebopping in and getting a kickback, that old insect. El Clasico.
El Clasico.
But they have so much to go through. It's a Nautilus. It's a Gragas. I can't get over how good this composition is from the side of Michigan.
It's very defensive, but I think one thing that was kind of looked over when we were talking through the composition of the University of Kansas is there's a lot of versatility in how they can do things. They can use the Ashe Crystalline Arrow to engage. They can use the Ahri Charm to get a pick. You can use the Twisted Advance from Maokai. But you have to understand that there's a lot of repositioning tools available for the University of Kansas. You have the Ahri Ultimate to reposition in its short range. You have the Lee Sin Ward Hop Sonic Wave combo to reposition in a little bit of a longer range.
Yeah.
You also have the Teleport on both Ari and on Maokai. There's a lot of repositioning.
Oh, yeah, they're running double TP.
Right, so there's a lot of repositioning available to the University of Kansas to try to make something happen around the map that's not solely relying on the Ashe engage, giving them a lot of options to make something else happen.
Right, no, I mean, they've got the tools at their disposal. We'll see how this all pans out pretty soon. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you are here, if you are in person, go check out any and all of these amazing booths that they have set up. They've put so much work here into the Midwest Campus Clash. We couldn't be more excited to be here, personally.
Columbia College has been an amazing host. These guys are great. They have an excellent esports program, along with actually practically all of the universities that are in attendance to this invitational.
Right.
They all have excellent esports programs, and I couldn't be more proud of the collegiate scene than I am today. This is amazing.
I know. It's such a privilege to be up here, to be doing this now, and so I can't get over it.
I mean, four short years ago when you and I started casting,
my goodness.
It didn't really seem like there was a lot on the docket for the East Coast. And now
yeah, no, I mean, it all started on the West Coast. Now it's moving over onto the
Scrooge heart is warmed by wonderful games of League of Legends.
4 years in esports has left me bitter and jaded.
Well, the good news is we are loading in to this first game of the Midwest Campus Clash between the University of Michigan and the University of Kansas. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for this first game.
They are on the Rift and ready to go. We'll see what level 1 strats they're going to be pulling out, if anything. Maybe some nerves on this stage, maybe just defensive, or they could want blood. So it looks like a pretty even fan out off the bat here, but we'll get some confirmation on that as it unfolds.
So, for those of you that aren't hip with the League of Legends skins, we have KUXY is playing that fantastic the new Lee Sin, the God Lee Sin skin.
Yeah, he's got the God Fist.
He's got the God Fist Lee Sin, and look at that skin. It's so gold and shiny.
See, I would lose automatically because that would just distract me so much from the game that's hand. I'd be like, what the hell is happening?
Why is all this stuff flashing on my screen?
That's basically esports in a nutshell anyway.
That's right, and actually we do see 1D might be a little bit close into his tri-bush, can only get hit by one auto attack from Pasu. The good news for him, Ashe and Lucian don't have a lot of early lockdown. He's no risk of getting caught very early on. And actually, I'm a little bit concerned about the early potential of University of Kansas's bot lane. They do have a little bit of extra damage coming out with the with Pasu and Ashe being available on that Lucian. They do have a little bit of extra damage, but 1D and iTroll are very safe with that Sivir and that Janna. So I'm curious to see how this bot lane plays out a little bit, because it is a little bit less of what we would say is a CC bot lane that we're used to seeing.
Right. No, they've got some good slow potential coming out from Hope, just if he's gonna expend the mana to really burn it out there. But it's gonna be interesting to see because it's such a defensive composition. I don't know how they're gonna be able to spin it through, and so all in all, yeah, they've picked a really risky composition. They have Lucian, they have Ashe, so there's a ton of damage if they just want to start layering that on. And actually, I really like what they're doing to zone it out right now. Just hanging out in that bush. But we got some mid lane aggression. That's a point blank charm. Gonna keep Julius on his toes there. Has to be careful. Doesn't want to take too much damage early on. You will heal back just from your initial levels, which happen in the span of just a couple short minutes. But you never want to have to rely on that.
I agree. And the other interesting part about this bot lane for the University of Kansas is between Hope and Pasu, they actually have technically 2 damage dealers available to them against iTroll and 1D, right? iTroll and 1D, like, the benefit of Janna is that she provides a shield to your ADC, right? And that's normally not a problem because you're only against another support, right? But in this instance, you're actually against another AD carry pretty much. And so Janna can take some damage on the nose, and she has a hard time recovering from that because her only defensive option really available to her is that Storm Shield.
Right, and if she has to use it on herself, that's going to mean Sivir is going to be in a bad position, has a shield, so they each individually have an option that they can pop.
Yeah.
But in theory, as Janna, you really want to be able to save that for your carry since it does the damage buff as well. And so I feel like if 1D or iTroll is in a position where he's just having to constantly put his shield on himself, that's going to be the best situation for the side of Kansas. That's what Hope wants. That's why he's playing so up in their faces. He's trying to get those things on cooldown, just so he can keep denying them CS, keep buffing waves into this tower. Every time that wave crashes into the tower, they're losing CS, and it's going to help stretch a lead there for Pasu. I would expect to see him rolling out pretty quickly.
Right, and the other thing is if you look at Hope's build as well, he's starting out with that Ancient Coin, which does give him extra gold for every minion killed.
Make
so
money, money, make money, money, money.
That's right, all those gold coins, right? And so I think that actually is a good pickup for them, because that is what you need, especially if you're Ashe and you do need that extra damage. But KUXY is going to take some damage on the nose from Xariel here.
Yeah, Xencriel could be in some trouble. Chenny and XY found him. They caught the flash, but it's a turnaround.
Oh my God.
Rhubarb's there. He finds the first one, and Chenny's not getting out of this one alive without the flash.
Man, okay, so that was an excellent rotation by Rhubarb's there, and the two junglers were just on a crash course going up into that top lane, having about the same type of jungle pathing, and it looked like it was going to go in favor of the University of Kansas, but Rhubarb's was there. That was an excellent flash by Xencriel to help him stay alive a little bit longer, and so overall, very well done by the University of Michigan.
Absolutely. Pasu's going to go in. He's going to get exhausted. Has to get back out of that one. He's in some trouble. Hope is trying to peel, but you can't do too much. Troll might find this one. Does not, actually. And now Hope is trying to spit back the damage. We'll see if he finds it. And after all that, it ends up in a stall out. Hope actually made that one work. I know. XY's looking for it. If he finds the Sonic Wave, that's it. Flashes in and slays iTroll. Makes up for his little faux pas in the top lane there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that was very well done by KUXY. He did a very good job of being able to be in the right place, and one thing might be in a little bit of trouble, able to spell shield out the Lee Sin Sonic Wave, and with that, actually, Pasu does fall, taking one too many shots from the tower on the chin. KUXY is going to get hit by that dredge line from Nautilus. Hope has no health to try to save him. KUXY.
It's a ward hop. He's probably out of that one alive, and now Ace is going in for it in the mid lane. No, I don't think XY is going to get out anymore. He's in some trouble. Xencriel takes the kill, and XY is out of there. Second death of the game.
Wow, that was rough. XY was in a good position to follow that up, but then they stayed too long. They wanted to try to kill 1D. 1D, I believe, actually did fall during that fight, but it was pretty much after Pasu took one too many tower shots, so he died. Hope doesn't provide the same amount of CC that you need to try to stay alive and defend XY during that situation. And so it was just a lot of cooldown problems coming out at these early levels that allowed University of Michigan to win that fight, and they're coming out ahead so far.
Yeah, it's a really big risk that they took on the side of Kansas, taking that Ashe. Now, if it does go wrong for them, they are in so much trouble. Pasu just face-checking, and 1D catches it on the edge of the boomerang, meaning yet another kill is going to go into the back pocket of this Sivir. Already 2,400 gold, building a nice lead up over Lucian. And so should be in a really good position for maybe this first Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and that is the first Infernal Drake that you want. And something else that I didn't talk about as Rhubarb's was making his way down into the bot lane, but the path that he took actually avoided all of the red wards that
so clever.
that Kansas had available. So they didn't even suspect that he was there, because it's it's a typical trap you fall into. It's like, they were just here. Why would they be here again?
Right.
Surprise! I'm here.
It's very clever pathing, very clever play coming out. Kansas not having a ton of answers for the plan that Michigan's bringing to the table here, so this is some good representation from one of our Big Ten schools here.
The other thing is you're exactly right. University of Michigan is making a huge show, but listen, University of Kansas is nowhere near out of this game. They're only 300 gold behind. They're only down by 2 kills. CS differential is actually in favor of the side of University of Kansas. And the only thing that they've lost so far really is kills and a little bit of lane pressure. But that's not the worst thing in the world to lose at this point in the game. Usually at about 8 or 10 minutes, we see that first tower fall, and that's where things kind of start to get out of control for teams that are behind. But right now, University of Kansas, they've only lost kills. No towers have fallen. They lost that Infernal Drake, but they at least have some time before that Infernal Drake scales up to the point that it causes them problems.
That is a ticking time bomb anyway you cut it. They've got to be careful because they can't keep just giving away Drakes like that. especially off of such a preventable mistake from Pasu. He was half health, he walked toward a bush he had no vision in, and it gave him some trouble.
And we actually do see KUXY here in the bot lane, maybe to try to make something happen.
It's a hard lane to gank. I would stick on the Orianna.
And that's the thing, is I agree, it is a hard lane to gank, but now you are level 6. If you are Hope, you do have that crystalline arrow available.
Right.
Pasu does have his ultimate up available. XY has the dragon kick now. So there are some ults available. Janna's not level 6. She does not have the monsoon disengage.
Right.
So there are some things that KU has on the table now that they can take advantage of, but I don't think they're going to because XY is now just farming out the Grok.
Right, no, it's a tough position to be in. All in all, there is as well another Infernal Drake on the board here, and so that would be huge for Kansas in a couple short minutes here when that does pop up, if they're going to be able to take that one away. Because right now they need to start making something happen. They don't have enough aggression coming out right as that ace. He's like, okay, well, we got aggression for you. Come on, we'll make it work.
I'll show you. It's the caster curse, Kyle.
Right. It happens all the time. XY over the wall into Rhubarbs, but Gragas is a tanky son of a gun. Charm doesn't connect, but the arrow does, and they're going to pull in for this. Burns a teleport. And all in all, that's actually a pretty good takeaway because now Xencreal is going to be down here toward this bottom side of the map with very few objectives up for the taking. A spy from towers. They're going to try to find the fight. A good flash out keeps Ace alive.
So I felt like that flash didn't need to be burned from Ace. He stayed around too long trying to poke down Rhubarbs, who is a Gragas with Cinderhulk already. I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot of poke down onto either of those champions just by using your REW, right?
No.
And so being in that position, actually, I don't think was completely necessary because that is both of the escape tools for Ahri down right now, but there is at least only about a third of the cooldown left on her ultimate to try to escape from, but that's a rough position to be in.
No, absolutely. And now you got to play carefully because the good news is the exploding barrel from Gragas was burned. There is no ultimate there to pull off, and so you'll have maybe another minute of peace there, and then when that back off cooldown, body slam ultimate from Gragas, if there's no escape tools coming out from Ace, could be lethal.
I agree, and I think there's still a couple of kinks to be worked out with this University of Kansas composition. We saw in that mid lane that the crystalline arrow came in after the charm was already thrown out by Ace on that Ahri, and so that is something that they need to clear up to make this comp work because that is a key part of the CC that they have available to them for the side of University of Kansas. If you are not able to time the crystalline arrow with the Ahri charm, you're going to have a really hard time in the rest of these games trying to pull off these picks.
Right, we saw just a little bit of dissonance between the two. It was a charm that didn't connect, in fairness, and I think that was the biggest point. And the arrow actually did come in a little bit later, hit the target. Okay, Ace, yet another charm. It seems like every time he's got the pitch, he's just off by a little bit. That's 3 or 4 charms now we've seen him miss on screen. XY, though, here in the top lane. We'll see if they can get Xencreal. It's the kick back, but his health bar's still up there. A nice double knock-up flash out dredge line means he will be A-okay, just fine. Did cost him the flash, did cost him the ultimate, so it's some tools burnt, but all in all, he does stay alive.
Overall, right, that was a very, very good fight. KUXY did have to actually burn his Dragon Kick, but that's a much shorter cooldown than the depth charge coming out of Nautilus. There are... Look at these wards in the bot lane.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Look at the bot side wards. There are so many wards out available for University of Michigan. They are keeping this bot lane Sivir Janna combo so safe.
And it's on track for Dragon here in 45 seconds.
And that's huge because they're going to pick up the second Infernal Drake.
Yeah, if they got second Infernal, that'd be ridiculous.
At basically about 14 minutes, that's going to be huge because that shortens the scaling time for the Infernal Drakes to be useful.
Right, it's 6%, I believe, still?
It's 6% at level 1, 12% at
right,
level 2.
Scales 6% each increment up to a maximum of 18. And so 12% additional damage with every single spell you fire, every single auto you slap on, that's gonna hurt.
And it scales with your items. So we do see Sivir picking up her Essence Reaver. That is going to be her first buy. Very good pickup for Sivir early on. And we do see Lucian did finish the Blade of the Ruin King, which is very strong on him right now as well. So the AD carries are hitting that first item breakpoint. The mid laner actually for Julius is a little bit behind Ahri. He has not quite finished his first item, where Ace has finished that Morel Namicon.
Right, and so all in all, it's getting to be a bit of a precarious situation for some of the Kansas members, especially as 3 members now from Michigan do converge into this mid lane. Even if they don't find a pick, they're going to find a dragon or some tower pressure just due to the sheer numbers they're applying on this. XY was in the top side of the map. He's still just now rotating down through mid.
I think XY is having a really hard time keeping up these rotations.
Is Pasu going to fight through the minions here? That's risky. He's got the damage, but he's going to be taking it back too. It's a charm connected onto Troll. Some good true damage through the back of it all, but the Dragon's health continues to go down. XY over the wall and steals it. The shockwave is whipped as well, so this is a good position actually for the side of Kansas trying to escape. They get out clean. It's a flash burned, but it's a Dragon taken.
That actually was huge for the University of Kansas. If they had lost that, that would have been a terrible, terrible thing to lose. That would have set them significantly behind.
Now it's equalized. A Fire Dragon and a Fire Dragon, it cancels out.
Right, and actually from that, University of Kansas got a huge win because not only did they get the Fire Drake, but they also got the first tower in the top lane from Maokai. So that is a huge pickup.
Yeah, that puts them in a comfy gold lead.
Yeah, that gives them a 1,000 gold lead when they were actually behind by about 300 gold.
And so in a matter of seconds, they scrape away the deficit and pick it back up. They're also primed really well now here in this bottom lane to try to take away this tower, should they need it.
And that is going to be very big for them because they are going to be able to force a lot of those Storm Shields out of Janna. They're going to get some ward control of their own Tri-Bush to make sure that Rhubarbs doesn't come and try to give them the old bamboozle in that gank. And so I think it is going to be very important to see how much focus is going to come out onto this bot lane because as we've talked about and we have seen even last night in some of the games is that we saw that after that first tower goes down the bot lane, you do that lane swap and you move your AD carry and your support up to that top lane, move your top lane down to the bottom. And that would be very, very big for Maokai.
Pasu wants it just on the edge, and now Rhubarb should mean that the side of Michigan is going to get out of this one okay. I don't think he's got the tools at his disposal to really continue any aggression. It's just posturing a little bit. He's shoving this wave out of there. Does not want to find himself in any trouble there. That tower is vital to defend, and without one dig, it's going to be hard. Now Pasu and Hope are looking to spin back just a little aggression, but that's credit to how actually threatening Rhubarbs is right now. He knows he could kill him if it came down to it.
Yeah, he is scary enough to the point that University of Kansas does have to respect him because they do have that tower up. And because both Pasu and Hope are playing that AD carry, there's no real tank in that bot lane available to them. And so if one of them gets knocked back into the tower, they have no way of surviving from that explosive cast of Gragas. And he does enough burst damage from his combo of the body slam, of the drunken, basically the barrel slap, the exploding cask. I mean, there's so much damage there that Pasu and Hope wouldn't be able to survive if they had gotten caught under that tower.
So good on Pasu and Hope to know their limits, especially now we have the support Ashe without any flash. So that is super immobile should it get caught up in the middle of anything. So all in all, pretty good. XY gets slapped in the face with the belly of a fat man. Typical Saturday morning.
Wake up, get slapped by a fat guy. Heck, this is normal. This happens to me all the time.
Rhubarb doing his job. Little down in CS, but it's just nitpicky. I actually think the goal between these two junglers should be pretty darn close to even. Only actually, about 100 gold separating these two guys. And so as they've been looking to kind of control the pace of this game, it's been a pretty fair fight so far. Gold advantage still just about that 1,000 in the hands of Kansas. So should be feeling pretty good about that. But I got to be honest, the objective game from both of these guys has been so timid.
Yeah, we are definitely not seeing the same aggression that we typically see out of these teams, that we are seeing maybe a scuffle in that bot lane. The shield is down from Janna.
Pasu is just not doing well in these trades. It's actually Pasu taking all the damage, and then they kind of forget about Hope and the fact that Hope is just this ADC support. And in that regard, I think they may leave themselves open. What's not open is if they get ganked out. Rhubarbs is here. Hope has nowhere to go. They're going to try to force through it. It's a flash, but it's knocked back by the barrel. XY kicks Gragas back into tower, and Rhubarbs will go down. Chenny finds that one. The charm is there. Ace gets one dig, and they're not done. Xencreel and Troll are both on the ropes. Troll goes down. Xencreel has a tower, but that thing has no health, and there's a minion wave there. It's going to go down along with Xencreel. That is a huge pickup for the University of Kansas.
Yeah, that is the strength of the teleport Ari. Orianna was not
They're
able
not
to stop.
done. It's a flash twisted advance. Julius is gone.
Oh.
Ace.
Oh my gosh. So that's what I'm saying. That's the strength of the teleport Ari. She was able to teleport down to that lane, make her presence known.
It's another tower.
Yeah, make it a 5v3 basically. And then Julius just was not quick enough to rotate, made a bad decision to go that way towards his tower through that pathing, and he paid for it. They got an ace, they lost that tower, and now we see University of Kansas has a huge advantage, basically 5K up now at this point. That is huge for them. Dragon will be live in about 57 seconds. Barrett will be live in 45 seconds, and the next Drake is actually going to be a Mountain Drake to help them destroy those objectives even faster.
Oh, can you imagine a Mountain Drake in the hands of Pasu and Hope? Double AD composition.
Bless.
I mean, so it's definitely going to be a supportive build coming out from Hope. If we take a look at that, that's actually one of the strangest things I may have ever seen. I'd really like to see some of the runes and masteries this guy just slapped on when he decided to do this.
For me, if I was doing the runes and masteries I would run would just be primarily a ton of mana regen, so you can spam out your W, spam out your Q, get some cooldown in there so you can have your crystalline arrow up all the time. And that looks like to be what he's building right now. He's got Eye of the Oasis, which allows you to get mana regen, health regen, and cooldown reduction, as well as the Lucidity boots for more cooldown, and then obviously the Forbidden Idol for more cooldown, of course. So we see he wants cooldown and mana regen.
It's just all about arrows. Yeah, it's all about just tossing out the crystalline arrow. And then I guess the secondary objective on that would probably be the volley. Just want to volley every time, play some volleyball, set up a net wherever you are, and just go to town.
And something that I didn't talk about in the laning phase is the way the Keystone Mastery hanging on. Rhubarb's getting caught a little bit.
He thought he wanted this. He may still. All the while, though, it's just bait as XY's taking away that Mountain Drake, and so the side now of Kansas are putting themselves in really well. It's traded back for the first tower takeaway. Xencriel finds that in the top lane. We'll see if they want to make a flank. They might not be able to without one dig. XY definitely nullifies his health bar there, and Rhubarbs is in some trouble. There's no ADC to turn this fight around. It's a good shockwave, though, and a nice tornado to get the knockup. Pasu is going to die for that one, and now Hope may not have too much as Xencriel's in the middle of this one. XY wants to find it. The Monsoon tapers off. The health bars are low, but all five are still up. Rhubarbs trying to do what he can to make this disengage happen. Xencriel as well going to have to dredge line out of that, and the tornado seals the deal. They found one in the scrappiest fight I've seen in a long time. I don't think there's an ultimate up across the board.
There is the ultimate from Hope up, and it just hit Rhubarb, but that is not the target that you wanted to hit. I think he was going for eye troll or 1D there, and they just stepped right behind Rhubarbs and used the fat man as a fat shield.
That was definitely very strange, but definitely effective play coming out from the side of Michigan there. They did so well in just terms of peeling, juggling, making sure the right people were doing the right things in that fight to keep everybody alive. Not one person went down, and they found Pasu. They actually took out a pretty big target. He's coming back now, though. He's got that Blade of the Ruin King Black Cleaver finished, and it's going to be a different threat.
Yeah, those are your two main builds on Lucian right now. As you grab that Black Cleaver, you grab that Blade of the Ruin King, and then you grab a crit item. You can either go Static Shiv or that Rapid Fire Revolver. Either one of those are actually very good after you do that and get your Zerker's Greaves. That's kind of the pathing that you want to go since the Blade of the Ruin King buffs and the way Lucian is structured with his passive, having that double shot available. So those are two very good pickups for Pasu. He is going to be very well off there. But it's also to keep in mind, let's take a look at one Dig's items. He does have that Essence Reaver finished. He has finished that Zeal, and he does have Zerker's Greaves. So it looks like he is going to be going for a crit item next. So I will say Pasu might be a little bit stronger in terms of team fight ability and being able to survive a little bit longer against these tanks by himself. But if you look at the team comp, like we talked about, of University of Michigan, they want to protect that 80 carry. Troll's getting knocked out.
Done. He's not going to make it out without a flash, yeah. Does turn it back. The Shockwave whiffs yet again. That's the second or third time we've seen that happen this game. Others being around the Dragon Pit, I believe. But either way, does keep things now a little bit more troublesome for the side of Michigan. Kansas getting ready to push this wave on in. They want yet another tower. This would be the last outer for them. And they've already got the split push building through Chenny. He's got teleport, so he's in a good position. It's just now a matter of finding that right pick in the mid lane if they can. The wave clear, very potent from the side of Michigan, and so we could be seeing this for a while.
Something that is interesting about these two top laners between Chinny and Xencreal on that Nautilus Maokai, respectively, is that both of them have to play this game of chicken, right? In terms of the teleport game. Like, they both have teleport available, and whoever does teleport first is going to lose it. But then they also have to worry about is that after they stop the teleport of the enemy top laner, then their teleport can be stopped too.
Oh, XY gonna get caught out. Does just barely. No, gets out of that one okay, and it's a good kick back. Now 1Dig is in some trouble. Kenny's there. He's found the flank, and that's the ADC of Michigan down. Ace finds the killing spree on to Troll, and they are not done. It's gonna be a double kill coming out. Ace gets that one, and only Julius and Xencreal are alive. Health bar's blinking for Julius. That's a really good pickup for the side of Kansas. They should be able to take this tower, no problem. Baron is even on the table, should they want that as the objective.
I think if I was the University of Kansas, I would take this first tower, set up wards around the Baron, and then take a look at your status. And it looks like they may actually just go ahead and try to start this Baron. They do have enough damage with both Oak, Pasu, XY, and Chinny available. And Ace is actually just going to go back. XY is going to take a little bit of damage on the nose, but doesn't look like University of Michigan is going to try to rotate towards there. And so, like you said, Baron is on the table, and it looks like they very well secure that.
Yeah, they took that one out, no problem. Rhubarb's only just now spawned and is running out of the base, so there was no threat that the side of Michigan could purport to Kansas. And really clean play coming out. In just 3 short minutes here, they've stretched a 4K gold lead and almost doubled it.
Yeah, 4K to 7K. That is huge, especially having this Baron, because it will allow them to now be a lot more free in the pushes that they want to do down the different lanes. And the other thing, though, is that we have to keep in mind how badly these teams want to stay in this tournament, though.
Oh, yeah, no, this is elimination for whomever loses.
Whoever loses this is done at the Midwest Campus Clash for 2017, and so they have to be very, very confident, but they cannot get tilted. You have to be very strong mentally. Yeah,
you have to come into it with some mental fortitude. I think, Xencreal could be in some trouble here. Probably will still get out of this one alive. The arrow doesn't connect, Control's there. But they burn a lot for him. They want to turn it back around, maybe. Death Charge not going to do too much onto that one, so his team rallies around behind him and stays safe. But much to your point you were talking about earlier, staying alive in this tournament, the longer this game goes, in theory, the better the composition from the side of Michigan gets. Rhubarbs may not live to see that day if he's going to go down here. Pasu takes that away. 11-5 now the score, favoring Kansas, and they're ready to just keep on pushing. Baron minions are here and primed. It's another tower likely on the ropes, not to mention the split push coming out of Chinny. How much can Xencreal hold?
I mean, with the Baron minions, he can clear the waves out, but it puts him in a bad position because he would need to go help his team if they're trying to fight, and they can't because they are getting picked off or not getting what they need to. And Chinny is just like, hey, I'm going to stay here. I'm a tree, and I'm going to plant myself in this lane. I'm going to split push with these Baron minions, and I'm going to knock as many towers down as I can. And Ace
goodbye, 1Dig.
1Dig, are you kidding me?
He's out of that one, does not stand a chance, and now that's another tower pretty much open, and it's a third Infernal Drake of the game, second coming out now for the side of Kansas, and that is just about a 10K gold lead. They're still a little shy, but this tower will make it happen, and here at 27 minutes, Kansas look to be in excellent position to start closing out this game.
They are playing extremely strong. Like everyone heard earlier, we were slightly skeptical of the team comp of the University of Kansas, having that Ashe come out, but we've seen the Crystalline Arrow combo happen with the team, and after that one slight miscommunication, it's been doing very well.
Well, let's touch on kill participation. 11 out of the 12 kills.
Right.
Pope has been involved in. The only one I think he was not a party to was that solo kill that Ace pulled out from under tower. So they've been playing as a team around this Ashe pick so well.
And that is the important thing, and we talk about this a lot, is how do teams play around the compositions that they pick, and do those compositions that they pick fit their play style?
I think in this regard, Kansas is making a pretty good argument for yes.
I agree. And the interesting thing is that one important thing is, like, if someone makes a bad decision, you all go in on the bad decision.
Yeah, no, you have to just play that call together.
Right, and we've seen a lot of excellent team communication and coordination coming out from the side of the University of Kansas, and they are playing extremely well, extremely hard, and that's not to say University of Michigan hasn't been playing well either, because for about the first half of the game, they were extremely close and had good leads and good pressure around the map.
They're going to be able to push on this one. Just tightening the screws at this point. I think Kansas has a pretty good grasp on it all. It would take a lot to wrestle it back from the side now of Michigan. They do have the tools at their disposal, but they're just not strong enough, I feel like. They would need a long turtle session. And the good news is it's not super minions yet. They've got minions flooding in on all counts, sure. But if they can maintain the wave clear, that's essentially just stalling out and holding gold. They just cannot let Kansas continue to chip away at these towers.
That's exactly true, and I think they, University of Michigan does get a little bit of air as well with the Baron finally wearing off, so you do not have those Baron minions pushing in onto your tower, so it does make it easier to do that wave clear and turtle that you were talking about. And what I'm curious to see is how will University of Kansas break this base open, because with their team comp, they've relied on catching people out in open areas and being able to do split push. But as you get closer into the base of University of Michigan, is actually a lot tighter space for them to rotate around to different lanes and provide assistance where needed. And so that's going to cause a little bit of a wrinkle in how the University of Kansas has been playing recently.
I completely agree. It's all about wave management, and actually that's a point of the game that's been a little lacking for Kansas in these last 5 minutes or so. They can always find one or two, but the third one starts to slip away from them pretty quickly. Not going to be the engage that the side of Michigan was looking for. Postured a bit, wanted to find it. Ari's still in that top lane, does have the teleport, but you can do a lot before that mid laner gets there. So I think they need to focus on catching someone out and making it quick, because it's just a slow, steady game being played. It's wave after wave after wave crashing in, and look at this here. The tower now is low in the bot lane. The engage may come out under tower, actually. Kansas might want this. They at least use it as a conduit to take the tower away, and Ace is in over the wall. Solo pops the Zhonya's and actually nullifies the ult from Xentriel. Will just find it right back again with an exhaust. Ace is definitely going to die here. It's a shutdown coming out. Shenny now trying to get into things, but is on the ropes. It's a great Monsoon to just keep him alive. But it's a bit of a big victory there, because they did lose a tower.
They did lose a tower, but that fight proves that even inside of their base and then on a straight up team fight, they are able to catch the damage dealers out from the side of University of Kansas to give them a chance to survive through these fights and maybe stay a little bit longer and hang on until the gold lead doesn't matter anymore.
It's going to take a while, because we're still only at 31 minutes. Usually it's about 45 where that narrative starts to find it. So can they prolong this game another 33%?
Honestly, we have seen some excellent stall-outs in our time.
Yeah.
And if some of the games in the finals, from the division finals from CSL has taught us, is that these teams can know how to stall if they really, really have to.
Oh, it's not over till it's over.
Right, exactly. And our fellow co-caster here with us, Joshua Fekes Quest, can attest to the length that some of these teams will go to keep these games running longer. And that's the other thing is, while these games are running longer, they also are doing a good job of being cautious with the fights they want to pick, except for Rhubarb might get picked out.
Yeah, he was in trouble there.
Crystalline Arrow is available.
I don't think they have the right pick away. It would be good to burst out the tank, but Deeg and Julius have a lot of damage.
Oh no, Troll's in an awful position.
Goodbye, Troll, taken out instantaneously. Pasu, yet another one to his credit there. Gonna get that KD right back to even. And Chenny, I think he's the nagging thought in the back of the minds of Michigan here. Always going to be a threat to that inhibitor, always going to be ready to take it when they drop their guard. And so while he's drawing all this attention, actually flashes out. It's a Baron gonna get taken away so cleanly for the side of Kansas here.
That's another Baron that the University of Kansas is having taken away from them. And this is going to be, this is going to be a really hard push for the University of Michigan to try to stay safe from. And it's not, I am not sure how they're going to prevent this.
Well, we got pings coming out on the Dragon, only the Ocean Dragon, and so I think there are a couple more important objectives here coming out around the map. The mid tower, the top tower, the remaining two inhibitor guardians. And that bot lane inhibitor with the Baron now off the map has to be tempting.
That has got to be where you're looking. I mean, you get send Cheney to the top lane, use him to split push down into that tower with the Baron. You can use your other members to go onto those onto that bot lane inhibitor if you want. There's a lot of options that they have available because they have this Baron. They have stronger minion waves, so they can stall out these minion waves longer. And 1D actually has to go to the top lane to try to prevent that from crashing in. And so we are going to see University of Kansas going to probably take away this inhibitor because Michigan has no way of defending it.
No, I think this one's taken out pretty cleanly. There's not a lot they can do without risking a full-on engage into a Baron minion cannon wave. So it is, in fact, the inhibitor taken away. Will not be contested. And that's going to mean so much for now Kansas. They can apply their split pushers elsewhere. They can send them to the top lane, do a 4-1 with a quick rotation if need be. And this base should soon be in shambles if the side of Michigan can't find an answer soon.
I think they're going to have a really bad time trying to find that answer.
To be in.
Like, it's really hard unless you get an amazing Orianna ult combined with like a Rhubarbs or Exencriel Nautilus.
You have to find the
Gragas.
perfect wombo combo, right?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise you're going to have an awful time of this because University of Kansas is just too strong.
Yeah,
and if they're going to fight, they're going to have to fight here because they're going to push in onto these Nexus or onto the Nexus turrets here in just a couple of short seconds.
And Nexus towers, sure, they're a last ditch because it's 2 towers. If you're going to fight anywhere on the map, that's probably the safest place to fight. But usually, by the time you get down there, it's a little too late. It's just about 15K gold, really 13, closer to, separating these two teams, but that's a massive lead and nigh insurmountable at this point. XY's in through the back, finds Julius, but his own health bar might be the cost. The Monsoon does keep things going as Pasu finds the first kill. Ace is in onto that one. It's a trade back as Troll takes a kill credit. Exencriel gonna have the Guardian Angel pop. There will be no tower when he comes back up. Ace through the Zanyas should be just fine. The tornado doesn't catch it. He's out in one piece. The side of Michigan are falling apart. That's the double kill for the Ace. The inhibitor is down. The Nexus towers will fall shortly after. There is no chance now for Michigan. They will fall to Kansas. Kansas will move on and continue to stay alive here at the Midwest Campus Clash.
That's huge for them. They will stay alive. This leaves them in the tournament available to make some more things happen. And we are going to see good players come through and that will be the end of this first round game for me and Kyle. But we will be back in a few short minutes, I think, with the next game.
Yeah, we got plenty more action to roll on into. I think we're hopping over to the other side of the bracket. Could be wrong, but I believe that's going to be Maryville versus Ohio State. Some more CSL talent versus some Big Ten.
Oh, I think